Philly Tech Week kicks off at the end of the month. It runs from April 28th to May 6th. Joining me now in the studio is Roberto Torres, writer of Technically Media.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It is great to be technical in the studio for a moment.
Absolutely.
Tell us what Philly Tech Week is all about.
Philly Tech Week 2017, presented by Comcast. It's on its 7th year of bringing together Philadelphia's tech community, and this year we have a slate of over 100 events around technology scattered around different tracks. So you have events that would interest the most advanced computer programmer to someone who's really getting into technology, someone who's curious about the media, someone who is curious about the business side of technology. So there are different tracks within that programming. You can look it up, and on the website is 2017.phillytechweek.com. I'm very excited. I absolutely love this event because it's the one that has brought me closer to the community. I started working during Philly Tech Week 2016, and every year I see how it brings people together, how it showcases Philly's tech ecosystem to a number of people who didn't have an idea that this existed within the city. And I think that's its best impact, is that it gets the message out there that these things are happening, not just in Silicon Valley, not just in New York, but right here in Philadelphia.
Okay. So to have events day after day for a couple days in a row, what impact will that have on the city?
My guess is that you're going to see a lot of people coming in from our neighboring cities, folks from Delaware, from even from Washington and New York coming in. We have a very impressive lineup of speakers. I'm not going to bore your audience with them, but you should definitely go to the website and check out some of the top line speakers. We have people from Facebook and Google, and WeWork coming in, chatting about different subjects from conferences that focus on the science aspect of technology, from how to raise venture capital, digital marketing, women in technology, STEM education, and a number of things that I think are going to give people a good insight into what Philadelphia's tech community is all about.
Okay. So why is it important to have a thriving tech community in Philadelphia?
Well, recent stats have shown that tech jobs can act as a multiplier in a country's economy. For every tech job that's created, another 4 go along with it. So having a big, strong pipeline of tech-savvy talent is good for any economy, especially in Philadelphia when you have institutions that bolster that innovation, like the University of Pennsylvania, which just opened up a big research center in Grays Ferry, to the University City Science Center, which has 50 years of history, growing that tech ecosystem, to Drexel and Temple, and the youngest 2-3 people startups that have a bold idea and are trying to make it happen. I think that there's a lot of passion in there as well.
Okay. What programs do you have geared toward women and young ladies regarding to STEM?
Well, one of the flashy events that is always a big attraction is the RAD Awards. They highlight women doing amazing things in technology, but also in media and entrepreneurship. It's always a big night, but there's also a number of meetups happening, and I think that it's important for this year to not only focus on women in technology, but of women technologists, what they know and what they can deliver to other people.
Okay, so pick maybe 2 hot topics, just 2 special things that are going on for that time period.
Okay, mind you, I'll stick to the beginning and the end. Okay. So we have a great innovation crawl that happens on April 28th. It's going to go all across the city and hit the hottest spots in technology. And we're going to wrap it up with a signature event with over 1,000 people in the University of Pennsylvania's Pennovation Center that I think is going to be pretty cool.
Is there any incentive for reaching out to African American groups?
Sure. So diversity has always been within one of the main topics of discussion during Philly Tech Week. I think that Philly Tech Week is important because it tries to bring that discussion into every single event. It's not just focusing on something that's one day, but the entire schedule of events.
Okay. So give us some more information about the locations of a few of these events that are going on. So people are like, oh, that's in my neighborhood. I got to make sure I go there.
That's interesting because I think when we talk about diversity, one of the big equalizers is geographic location. Mm-hmm. And we're pretty proud to say that if you look at the map for the events happening during Philly Tech Week, we have a pretty good balance, from Grace Ferry, like I mentioned before, we go up to North Philly, South Philly, all the different neighborhoods have something happening that's going to be pretty interesting. And for those people out of town, they can get to know sort of that, who works in that big building I walk by every day, and what do they do in there? Let me get to know what they do.
So if someone's stating that technical, what does technical involve? Is it just computers? Is it cell phones? Is it TVs? What is involved when you say technical?
Well, one of the interesting things about technology startups is that they demand a broad, a vast amount of knowledge to them. Mm-hmm. Having a job in technology is not just about learning how to program a computer anymore. Mm-hmm. Take me, for example. I'm a journalist who got involved with technology because it's such a thriving aspect of society. So as you see it evolve, we're going to need designers, we're going to need people with talent for project management, we're going to need to have great chief operating officers, and I think also over time the cost of starting a business has fallen because of all the free tools that we have. So tech is a field that promotes entrepreneurship a lot, and that's one of the things I like about it. The passion that goes into that, into believing that a person with their ideas and with their talents can bring an idea into fruition. Philly Tech Week is going to have a lot of that.
That's good to know, because some people are like, well, I'm not technical, but I can manage, I can organize. So this would be for them as well.
And the other thing is that you're going to see a lot of stuff that's really flashy, like robots and VR and drones and all of these really, really cool gadgets. Behind them is a lot of science, is a lot of technology that people can get trained in and can have access to online, which is, I think, another great equalizers within our society.
I believe I went to one of the Tech Weeks one of the days last year, and the Google goggles.
Okay.
That's my term. The Google goggles blew me away. But as we wrap up this interview, make sure everybody, once you talk about the Google goggles, then I want you to give us your information and a little more detail about where people can find out the information.
Okay, I'm going to start by directing everyone who's interested in Google goggles or any sort of goggles to go to technical.ly/Philly and look up an article that we did recently on all the resources of virtual reality around town, from design shops to places where you can go and get to know more about virtual reality. And we're going to have a lot more of that during Philly Tech Week. And what was your other question?
To give them the information.
So, Philly Tech Week 2017, presented by Comcast, over 100 curated events all throughout the city. Go to 2017.phillytechweek.com for all the details, and I hope to see you there.
All right. Well, thank you to our guests, Commissioner Lisa D. Lee and Roberto Torres from Technically Media. And thank you for watching this episode of Philly Cam Voices. I am your host, Amanda Johnson. Good night.